Is your cat currently staring at you from across the room, judging your life choices? Or maybe your fluffy little angel turned into an absolute demon last night, sprinting across your face at 3 a.m. while screaming the song of their people. You might be sitting there thinking, are they doing this on purpose? Did my cat suddenly break? Welcome back, fellow cat slaves. Today we are tackling a topic that has sparked more internet arguments than whether the dress was blue or gold. Do not spay or neuter your cat until you watch this video. I am about to reveal the absolute, unfiltered truth about this surgery. The stuff they definitely do not put on the cute brochures at the vet's office. We are talking about the good, the bad, and the hilariously smelly. Before we dive into the madness, drop a comment below and tell me, what is the absolute weirdest thing your cat does when they get the zoomies? Let's see whose furry dictator takes the crown. To truly understand why our cats act like absolute lunatics, we have to look back at their history. Our cute little couch potatoes are actually descended from fierce, solitary desert hunters. Mother Nature programmed them to be highly efficient predators and, well, highly efficient at making more cats. For thousands of years, their entire existence revolved around sleeping for 18 hours, hunting for a quick snack, and fiercely defending their territory to secure a mate. Fast forward to today. We took these highly tuned biological machines, put them in climate-controlled apartments, gave them endless buffets of premium salmon pâté, and then we act shocked when their wild instincts clash with our expensive living room rugs. When a cat is not fixed, their body is constantly pumping them full of hormones that scream, "Go out! Fight! Claim this territory! Find a mate!" It is a biological imperative that completely takes over their tiny brains. Now, let's break down exactly what happens when you let those wild hormones run the show, and why the truth about altering them is not what you think. Let's start with the Midnight Symphony. If you have ever lived with an unfixed female cat in heat, or an intact male who smells a female 3 blocks away, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It usually starts around 2 a.m. You are deep in REM sleep, dreaming peacefully, when suddenly you hear it. A low, guttural yowl that sounds like a cross between a human baby crying and a demon being summoned from the underworld. You jump out of bed, terrified, only to find your precious little fluff ball sitting in the hallway, screaming at the wall. Why is your fluffy tyrant doing this? It is not because they want attention, and it is definitely not because their food bowl has a tiny, microscopic empty spot in the center. This vocalization is an urgent, desperate advertisement to every cat in the neighborhood that they are single and ready to mingle. The truth no one tells you is that this noise will absolutely destroy your sanity. It pierces through doors, earplugs, and your soul. Once you get them fixed, that demonic midnight mating call disappears forever, leaving only the standard, adorable meows for more treats. Now we must address the most terrifying weapon in an unfixed cat's arsenal, the dreaded eau de tomcat. If you have ever walked into a room and been hit by a smell so pungent, so aggressively terrible, that it made your eyes water, you have experienced cat spraying. People think cats pee outside the litter box just to be jerks, but spraying is completely different from peeing. When an intact male, and sometimes a female, backs up to your expensive curtains, your favorite couch, or worse, your shoes, and unleashes a fine mist with a quivering tail, they are leaving a chemical calling card. It is their way of putting up a giant neon billboard that says, "This territory belongs to me. I am incredibly handsome, and I am currently accepting applications for a mate." The truth is, Once this habit starts, it is incredibly hard to break, and the smell is nearly impossible to completely remove without a hazmat suit and specialized enzyme cleaners. Spaying and neutering drastically reduces or completely eliminates this behavior. You aren't just saving your cat, you are literally saving your home from becoming a biohazard zone. Let's talk about the 1 litter fairy tale. We all have that one friend or aunt who insists, "Oh, but she's so beautiful. She should experience the joy of motherhood at least once before you fix her." This is one of the most persistent and ridiculous myths in the cat world. We humans love to anthropomorphize our pets. We project our own desires for family and romance onto creatures who literally clean their own butts with their tongues. The truth that nobody wants to hear is that cats do not have a romanticized view of motherhood. For a female cat, pregnancy and birth are purely hormonal drives, not a lifelong dream. It is physically exhausting, highly stressful, and potentially dangerous. Plus, raising kittens is not a Disney movie. It involves bodily fluids on your carpet, tiny needle-like claws climbing up your legs, and a massive dent in your wallet for kitten food and vet visits. Your cat will not feel empty or deprived if she never has kittens. In fact, she will be infinitely happier and more relaxed without the massive physical toll that breeding takes on her tiny body. Moving on to the infamous chonky cat illusion. This is the fear that stops so many pet parents in their tracks. If I take my cat to the vet for this surgery, they are going to get lazy, lose their spark and turn into a giant furry bowling ball. Let me hit you with some truth. The surgery itself does not magically generate fat. Yes, it is true that after a cat is spayed or neutered, their metabolism can slow down slightly because they are no longer burning massive amounts of calories, stressing out, pacing the floors, and trying to escape the house to find a mate. But you know what actually makes a cat fat? Us. It is the human who cannot resist those giant Puss in Boots eyes begging for a third serving of crunchy treats. It is the human who keeps the bowl filled to the brim 24/7. Your cat will not automatically become Garfield just because they got fixed. You just have to adjust their portions slightly and actually play with them. Drag that feather wand around, make them run, and your altered cat will stay as sleek and athletic as a tiny panther. Don't blame the vet for your heavy pawing hand. Have you ever felt like you are living with a furry little Houdini? You open the front door for 2 seconds to grab a package, and suddenly your cat turns into a blur of fur, dodging your legs and sprinting toward the street. Unfixed cats suffer from what I call the Great Escape Artist syndrome. Their hormones are screaming at them to get out of the house to expand their territory and find love. They will destroy your window screens, push out the mesh, and memorize your door-opening habits just to find a weakness in your security system. The terrible truth is that this desperate urge to roam gets countless cats lost, injured by cars, or in fights with stray animals. It is a constant, anxiety-inducing battle for the owner. When you remove those reproductive hormones, that intense, overwhelming drive to escape dramatically fades. Your cat will look out the window, watch a bird flutter by, and then decide that the warm, soft pile of laundry on your bed is actually a much better place to spend the afternoon. You are trading a flight risk for a cuddle bug. Welcome to the Feline Underground Fight Club. If you have an intact male cat that goes outside, or even one that just sees other cats through a window, you know the aggression is real. Unaltered males are fiercely territorial. They don't fight because they are evil. They fight because biology demands they defend their turf from rivals. But these fights are brutal. We are talking about torn ears, deep scratches, and nasty abscesses that require emergency vet visits, antibiotics, and a very unhappy cat wearing a cone. The medical bills alone from patching up your little gladiator can cost 10 times more than the actual neutering procedure. And the stress it puts on the cat is immense. They are constantly on edge, patrolling the perimeter, ready for war. Once neutered, the testosterone drops, and so does the desire to engage in mortal combat over a patch of grass in the backyard. They retire from their mafia boss lifestyle. The fierce street brawler transforms back into a relaxed, purring marshmallow who prefers chasing laser pointers over fighting the neighbor's tomcat. Let's get real about surgical anxiety. The absolute hardest part of this entire process is not the cost or the recovery. It is the moment you have to hand your precious, confused little baby over to the vet tech and walk away. We convince ourselves that we are betraying their trust. What if something goes wrong? What if they hate me forever? The truth your anxiety won't let you see is that spaying and neutering are the most routine, standard procedures performed in veterinary medicine today. Your vet has likely done thousands of these surgeries. They have it down to a literal science. The anesthesia is incredibly safe, the monitoring is top-notch, and the procedure is fast. Your cat is not going to wake up and plot a complex revenge scheme against you. They do not hold grudges like humans do. They will be a little groggy. They might give you a pathetic look for a day or two. But as soon as you open a can of their favourite wet food, all is forgiven. Stop letting your own human anxiety prevent your cat from getting a procedure that will vastly improve their quality of life. Now we arrive at the wallet drainer. A lot of people delay fixing their cats because they look at the price tag of the surgery and think, "Oof, that is a lot of money right now. Maybe I can just manage their behaviour instead." Let me tell you a secret about feline economics. Not fixing your cat is the most expensive mistake you will ever make. Think the surgery is pricey? Try calculating the cost of replacing a living room sofa that has been repeatedly sprayed with tomcat urine. Try paying for the emergency, middle-of-the-night vet visit when your unfixed male comes home with a massive, infected bite wound from a street fight. And if you have a female, try pricing out exactly how much it costs to properly feed, vaccinate and deworm an unexpected litter of 6 ravenous kittens. Suddenly, that one-time surgical fee looks like the greatest bargain of the century. Many cities even offer low-cost or subsidized clinics if money is tight. Spaying or neutering is not just a medical decision. It is the ultimate financial protection plan for your home and your bank account. Here is a profound truth about your cat's personality. Hormones are actually masking who your cat truly is. Have you ever noticed your intact cat acting super affectionate, rubbing violently against your legs, only to turn around and aggressively bite your hand a second later? Or maybe they seem constantly agitated, pacing the room and unable to settle down for a nice cuddle. People mistake this intense, manic energy for their cat's true personality. But it's not. That is just biological stress. Their bodies are pushing them to fulfill a biological mission, and when they can't, it creates massive frustration. Once the surgery is done and the hormone levels balance out, something magical happens. The manic pacing stops. The frustrated biting disappears. The smoke clears, and you finally get to meet the real cat hiding underneath all that biological programming. They become softer, more attentive, and more genuinely affectionate. They are no longer a hostage to nature's demands, which means they finally have the mental space to just be your best friend. We need to have a serious talk about the silent killers. This isn't just about stopping bad habits. It is literally about saving your cat's life from things you cannot see. Unspayed females have a shockingly high risk of developing something called pyometra. This is a severe, life-threatening infection of the uterus that can turn fatal in a matter of days. And the emergency surgery to fix it will cost thousands of dollars and put your cat at massive risk. Intact females also have a drastically higher chance of developing mammary cancer, which is highly aggressive in felines. For males, neutering completely eliminates the risk of testicular cancer and significantly lowers the chance of prostate issues. The truth that no one emphasizes enough is that this routine surgery is actually the ultimate preventative healthcare. By making one simple trip to the vet when they are young, you are statistically adding years to your cat's life. You are buying yourself more time, more cuddles, and more years with your furry soulmate. It is the greatest act of love you can offer them. Let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the human insecurity in the room. This one is especially common among male pet owners who absolutely refuse to neuter their boy cats. I can't do that to him, bro. He's going to lose his manhood. He won't be a real man anymore. Listen to me very carefully. Your cat does not care about his testicles. He does not have an ego. He is not going to look in the mirror, flex, and feel a deep sense of masculine inadequacy. Cats do not tie their self-worth to their reproductive organs. They tie their self-worth to whether or not you filled their food bowl fast enough this morning. When humans project their own psychological hang-ups onto a cat, a creature that literally licks its own butt in front of company and gets scared of cucumbers, it is absurd. Your cat does not know what manhood is. He only knows that he feels stressed out all the time. The kindest thing you can do is stop projecting your own human emotions onto him and let the vet take away the source of his constant, frustrating biological urges. If you have never witnessed a female cat in full-blown heat, consider yourself lucky. People who don't know better often think it's funny at first. Look, she's doing a weird dance. Look how affectionate she is. The reality is that a cat in heat is essentially experiencing biological torture. She will roll on the floor frantically, rub her face raw against the furniture, and assume that weird elevated posture, called lordosis, every single time you gently pet her back. And the worst part? If she doesn't mate, the heat cycle doesn't just go away permanently. It will keep coming back, sometimes every 2 to 3 weeks, during the entire breeding season. It is a relentless, exhausting cycle of elevated hormones, lack of sleep, and physical discomfort for the cat. She isn't eating properly, she isn't resting, and she is miserable. The truth is, watching a cat go through a heat cycle is not cute. It's heartbreaking when you realize they are trapped in a biological loop they cannot escape. Spaying her is the only way to break that miserable cycle. A very common fear that prevents people from booking the surgery is the worry that their cat will become incredibly boring. Will my cat stop playing? Will they stop doing the hilarious 3 a.m. zoomies? Will they just sleep like a log all day? Let me put your mind at ease. The zoomies are eternal. Your cat's playful spirit, their love for chasing the red dot of the laser pointer, and their absolute obsession with an empty Amazon cardboard box over the $100 cat tree you bought them. All of that stays completely intact. The surgery does not remove their sense of fun or their hunting instincts. What it removes is the aggressive, frantic edge to their behavior. They will still hide behind the sofa and pounce on your ankles when you walk by, but they will do it because they are being a goofy little predator playing a game, not because they are overflowing with frustrated hormones. You keep all the hilarious, quirky personality traits, and you lose all the annoying, destructive ones. It is an absolute win-win situation for both of you. Let's talk about the multi-cat war zone. If you live in a house with multiple cats, and none of them are fixed, you are basically living in an episode of Game of Thrones. The tension is palpable. The house is divided into invisible territories. You have the constant threat of bullying, intense staring contests that turn into flying fur, and cats peeing on each other's beds to claim dominance. It is a highly stressful environment for the animals, and they are constantly walking on eggshells around each other. The truth that nobody tells you is that peace in a multi-cat household is nearly impossible without spaying and neutering. Once those hormones are removed from the equation, the hierarchy relaxes. The intense need to defend resources fades away. Cats that used to hiss at each other from across the room might suddenly be found sleeping in a massive, purring cuddle puddle on the living room rug. If you want your house to be a sanctuary of peace rather than a feline battleground, fixing your pets is the absolute first step you must take. Now we have to touch on a slightly heavy truth, but it's one every cat parent needs to hear. The heartbreaking math of overpopulation. You might look at your beautiful cat and think, just one litter would be amazing. I could easily find homes for 4 cute little kittens among my friends. Here is the reality check no one wants to face. Every time you bring a new litter of kittens into the world, even if you find wonderful, loving homes for all of them, those kittens are taking the place of cats sitting in a shelter right now. The shelters are completely overwhelmed. Millions of cats end up in shelters every year, and sadly there simply aren't enough homes for all of them. The math is staggering. One unspayed female and her unfixed mate, along with all their offspring, can produce thousands of kittens in just a few short years. It is an exponential explosion of tiny paws. The guilt trip is real, but the truth is, spaying and neutering is the only ethical way to stop the cycle of stray cats and overflowing shelters. We owe it to the species we love so much. You will often hear the argument, it's just not natural. We shouldn't interfere with nature. Let's take a step back and look at our modern feline overlords. You know what else isn't natural? Feeding a cat processed tuna out of an aluminium can. Providing them with a plastic box filled with clumping clay that smells like lavender to do their business in. Keeping them safely indoors, away from coyotes, cars, and parasites. We have already removed our domestic cats from the harsh, brutal reality of the natural wild to give them a life of absolute luxury and safety. In nature, cats live short, brutal lives. By bringing them into our homes, we have taken on the responsibility of managing their health and environment. Spaying and neutering is simply part of that modern medical package. It is no different than giving them vaccines to prevent terrible diseases or treating them for fleas. We interfere with nature every single day to keep our pets safe and healthy. This surgery is just another essential tool in our arsenal to ensure they live their best, longest life. Another massive mistake cat owners make is falling for the kitten phase illusion. You look at your tiny, fluffy 4-month-old kitten playing innocently with a ball of yarn, and you think, I have plenty of time. He's just a baby. I'll worry about fixing him next year. This is a trap. The truth is, cats mature incredibly fast. A female cat can actually go into her first heat and become pregnant as early as 4 or 5 months of age. Let that sink in. A kitten can literally have kittens. While you are busy taking aesthetic photos of your baby for Instagram, their internal biology is preparing for a hostile, hormonal takeover. If you wait too long, you run the risk of dealing with surprise pregnancies or entrenched bad behaviours like spraying, which can be much harder to stop once they have become a habit. Veterinarians overwhelmingly recommend early spaying and neutering, often before 6 months of age. Do not wait until your precious little baby suddenly pees on your laptop to realise they are all grown up. Beat the hormones to the punch. Let's talk about the post-op drama, because it is absolutely hilarious and no one prepares you for it. When you bring your cat home from the vet, they will likely be wearing the infamous cone of shame, or perhaps a little surgical onesie. Watching a cat try to navigate life with a plastic satellite dish on their head is pure comedy. They will walk backwards for 5 minutes straight, convinced they can back out of the cone. They will bump into door frames. They will look at you with the most intense, soul-crushing eyes of betrayal. Why, human? Why have you imprisoned my head? And the onesies. Putting a cat in a recovery suit makes them temporarily forget how their legs work. They will flop over onto their side like a dramatic fainting goat. It is a stressful couple of days, but the truth is, cats are incredibly resilient. They bounce back from this surgery with astonishing speed. Usually within 48 hours they are back to their normal selves, just highly annoyed by the cone. It is a few days of slapstick comedy in exchange for a lifetime of health and peace. There is one more secret truth about the recovery phase that you must know, especially if you have other cats at home: the sibling bond betrayal. You take your cat to the vet, get them fixed, and bring them home, expecting a loving reunion with their feline brother or sister. Instead, the cat who stayed home takes one sniff of the returning cat, puffs up to twice their size, and unleashes a furious hiss. Who are you? And why do you smell like alcohol, strange humans, and betrayal? This is called non-recognition aggression. Because cats rely so heavily on scent to identify each other, the vet smell completely masks their identity. The cat at home literally thinks an alien intruder has just been dropped into the living room. It breaks human hearts to see best friends hissing at each other, but the truth is, it's completely normal and totally temporary. Once the vet smell wears off and the returning cat grooms themselves back to their normal scent, the sibling bond is magically restored. Just keep them separated for a day and avoid the unnecessary drama. So, what is the ultimate, final truth about spaying and neutering your cat? The truth is that by not doing it, you are actively choosing a harder, more stressful life for both you and your pet. You are choosing the risk of deadly diseases, the destruction of your furniture, the midnight screaming matches, and the constant anxiety of them escaping. Spaying and neutering doesn't break a cat. It frees them. It unchains them from the exhausting, relentless demands of their wild biology. It allows them to relax, to feel safe in their territory without needing to defend it constantly, and to focus all their energy on what really matters: napping in sunbeams, hunting the elusive red dot, and aggressively demanding cuddles from you. We all want our fluffy dictators to live the longest, happiest, most carefree lives possible. And making that one simple appointment at the vet is the master key to unlocking that perfect life. You are not taking anything away from them. You are giving them the gift of a peaceful, purr-filled existence. And there you have it, fellow cat parents. The shocking, smelly, and hilarious truth about what really happens when you spay or neuter your cat. Now you know exactly what is going on inside that beautiful, furry little head of theirs. Yes, the cone of shame might make them look ridiculous for a few days, and yes, they might glare at you like you are the greatest villain in history. But we do this because we absolutely adore them. We want them healthy, happy, and living their best couch potato lives with us for as long as possible. If this video helped clear up some myths, or if you just enjoyed hearing the truth about Eau de Tomcat, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more feline secrets. Also, be a hero and share this video with anyone you know who is on the fence about fixing their cat. Let's keep those tails happy and our carpets clean. Now, before you go, I have to know, when your cat came home with the cone of shame, what was the funniest thing they did? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.